Continuing on, Ja Rule. I know immediately the Dave Chappelle skit came to my head. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? This is ridiculous. Ja Rule has decided to chime in on basically what's happening with Drake and decided to compare himself to, the Drake situation of 20v1. And Ja Rule, man. Let's just go over the article. Ja Rule has said that the current feuds in hip-hop are nothing compared to his legendary beef with 50 Cent. Making his thoughts known on X, Ja initially joked 20v1 I can relate, referencing Drake's line on push-ups about his enemies ganging up on him. He put a laughing emoji after that 20v1 I can relate tweet. And then he said hip-hop is a family and no one wins when the family feuds. Don't let that go over your head. Hip-hop versus everybody. One guy jokingly trolled Ja Rule and said they said 50 Cent had Ja Rule seeing 20, meaning like he beat his ass so bad that he was seeing 20. He quoted that saying, G-Unit literally had an order of protection against Murder, Inc. Can you imagine if one of the camps in this beef right now put an order of protection on the other? CWWTST. You guys already know I'm about to tear this apart. This is funny. So, first, the 20v1 thing. Ja Rule is acting like the victim in the beef. Yes, he got jumped by a bunch of artists. What I mean by jump, not figuratively, but, on tracks, everybody attacked him. During everything, he was actually even beefing with DMX, which had nothing to do with the 50 situation, but DMX was even having issues with him. But why did the 20v1 thing happen? 50 gets signed. So 50 already had issues with Ja Rule. 50 had put that in the back burner because he had made it clear he didn't want people signing a problem. Meaning he didn't want to just be like, hey, I got beef with Ja Rule. You guys are signing me. I'm going to be getting in battles with people and causing problems. He didn't want to seem like he was a problem that was getting signed. So he had put the Ja Rule thing on the back burner. He was already seeing success, buzzing hot. Hey, I got bigger fish to fry. I'm not going to worry about Ja Rule right now. Signed with Eminem. Eminem made it very clear that 50 told him, hey, I will not be going at Ja Rule. I'm not worried about this guy anymore. I've moved on. Do I believe 50 in that? No. I do believe how petty 50 is and how we know 50 right now. He would have definitely gone at Ja Rule regardless. But it's Ja Rule going in magazine interviews and not only shitting on 50, but then shitting on Eminem and Dr. Dre. He did that. Let's all remember that. He went in magazine interviews, shitted on not only 50, laughing about how he got stabbed. We stabbed him up in the studio. But then had the audacity and nerve to drag Eminem and Dr. Dre in it because they signed 50. What do you expect to happen, Ja Rule? Do you expect them not to retaliate? Like, what 20v1 happened because you made it happen. Had you just made fun of 50 getting stabbed and not mentioned Eminem or Dre, I think it would have stayed just Ja Rule and 50. I don't think Eminem would have got involved. I don't think Dre would have got involved. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think 50 would have attacked Ja Rule regardless, had Ja Rule mentioned him in the magazine or not. I think 50's just that petty and didn't like Ja Rule that much that he would have still attacked Ja Rule. He was just like, hey, he was waiting and hoping that Ja Rule would have attacked while he was signed with Eminem. Because before he was signed, he made it clear to Eminem and Dre, I'm not going to be going at this guy. And he kept his word for the moment until Ja Rule went out, and decided to clown 50 in the magazine interviews. And then 50 said, Eminem, he basically said, hey, this guy's attacking me. Em and Dre were like, hey, do your thing. Because Em and Dre didn't give a fuck at that point because Ja Rule was attacking them too. So go ahead, man. Let's destroy this guy. And then what happened? Onslaught. Eminem, 50, Dre, all of Shady Aftermath, Obi Trice, D12, everybody that was there. G-Unit, of course, Banks, Yayo, Buck, Game, even at some points. Whatever. Just everybody had started attacking. Busta Rhymes, who was signed to Aftermath. Everybody, man. Everybody that you can think of that was related to Dre, M, and 50 all went at him. And that was because of Ja Rule's fault. No other reason. So Ja Rule playing this like victim, oh, I got jumped by all these artists, that's why they destroyed my career. Because you did it. You jumped out there. That's not retwist history. Watch my 50 versus Ja Rule documentary, get a whole history of it, and you'll see he jumped out the window first. He should have just, honestly, here's the thing. What I would have done if I was Ja Rule. I see, hey, the guy that I have beef with is building a huge buzz, and he's climbing up, right? And he gets signed by the biggest rapper at the time, Eminem. He's got the machine behind him now. Had 50 attacked me, I would have simply ignored him. Ignore him. Because at a certain point, it's gonna make 50 look stupid attacking somebody that's not responding, that doesn't pay him no mind. I would have just ignored him and kept making my pop hits. Hey, I'm a pop artist. Cool, that's what you think. Cool. Oh, we're calling ourselves murderers? Yeah, because we're murdering the charts, motherfucker. We got number ones. What are you doing? That's why we're called Murder Inc. Not because we're murderers, but we're murdering the charts. We're murdering the competition. That's what I would have said. Shit. Because 50 was clowning them about being Murder Inc. You're not really gangsters. I would have been like, the reason why we named our company Murder Inc. is because we're murdering the competition. We're murdering the charts. We're getting number ones back to back. What are you doing? That's what I would have said just in a magazine interview, just to clown 50. Been like, well, that why we're called Murder Inc. Great question. We're murdering the charts. We're murdering the competition. That's simple. I would have just ignored it and kept putting out my hits. Kept doing that. Ja Rule would have been perfectly fine. I'm telling you right now. 50 tricked Ja Rule out of his position. 50 tricked him. 48 Laws of Power. Tricked him out of his position. Got into his own head and said, you ain't this gangster rapper. And what did Ja Rule start doing? Making more gangster records. We gonna clap back. New York was a fire record. New York, whatever. Fire record. But here's another thing, too, that, when I did my 50 versus Ja Rule documentary, I realized that it was just a perfect storm for Ja Rule to go down and Murder Inc. Because Supreme ended up getting locked up. Then, the FBI and, the feds assumed that Irv Gotti and Murder Inc. and Ja Rule and Chris Gotti and all of them were funneling money to Supreme to fund drug things and things like that. So now when you got the feds involved and they're seizing your money, they're seizing your company, they're limiting you from how you can, you got the feds watching you, so you're not going to really be able to respond that well to disses. You have to keep it very low key, which Ja Rule had to do. That held him back. So as much as I'd like to give 50 credit for destroying Ja Rule's career, it was an onslaught. It wasn't just 50. 50 probably contributed to probably, I want to say 60% of Ja Rule's career. Actually, 40% of Ja Rule's career getting destroyed. 40% was the whole Fed thing, because that screwed everything up. Because when I did the 50 versus Ja Rule, I was surprised by it when I did the documentary. Because I realized in 2004, Ja Rule was still delivering hits. Wonderful with R. Kelly and Ashanti. That went top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. The New York record, I don't know what number that went, but that was like top 40. So they're both pretty big hits. So he was still delivering hits, even after the whole 2003 beef was happening. 2004, still delivering hits. But the feds slowed everything down. Seized their assets, seized their bank accounts. Limited on what Ja Rule could, how could he respond? And, all that storm of 50 becoming the new hot guy, the biggest rapper at the time, Eminem co-signing him and jumping in the battle with Dr. Dre and a bunch of artists attacking him. And then the Fed thing all just made the perfect storm to destroy Murder Inc. and Ja Rule's career and everybody else involved. Chris Gotti, Black Child, and all those other artists. So, that's something that, a lot of 50 fans won't admit. I'm one of the biggest 50 fans, as you guys know, but I'll admit that it's not just 50 that had a role into that. I think when 50 gets the full props on that, I guess in the image and the eye, it makes sense because 50 started it. Like 50, was a main thing with 50 and Ja Rule. That was the main two opponents. It's like in this Drake and Kendrick thing. If someone's career gets destroyed, yeah, there are a lot of side pieces with Future, Rick Ross, Weeknd, A$AP Rocky, and all these J. Cole and all these people. But the main people are Drake and Kendrick are the ones that are gonna get the credit or clowning, because they're the main guys, and that's what 50 and Ja Rule was. They were the main guys. So everybody else was kind of pieces to the puzzle. But if you actually break it down like I did with the documentary, I realized that, it was just a perfect storm. So, but it was Ja Rule's fault. Like I said, you can't tweet about this stuff saying 20v1 I can relate with a laughing emoji and I actually give Drake props for going up against everybody. And somebody had tweeted at me, a few people have tweeted at me. So is Ja Rule, because I said, I call it Drake potentially the GOAT. Like he can be one of the greatest rappers of all time if he goes against everybody and destroys everybody. I'm telling you right now, because we don't see that often. 50 did it with Piggy Bank and records here going at people. But Drake has the opportunity to do it at the next level, next stage, because Drake's still on top, dominating, and it's a new era with social media. So if he destroys everybody, Future, Weeknd, all these artists, and goes all at them and destroys them, you can't help but give Drake his props, man, as one of the best ever. When I said that, people responded, well, what about Ja Rule? Why don't you give him props? He went up against everybody. Because one, Ja Rule lost that. Two, Ja Rule does not have the plethora of hits that Drake does. Ja Rule is nowhere near Drake's level. That's another reason why Drake would get that high level of GOAT status, because he's delivered day in and day out. And I don't want to hear no bullshit about ghostwriters and, oh, he got ghostwriters and this and that. Come on, guys. A guy who has ghostwriters, you would have had a bunch of records written about him. There's only a few records here and there, and a lot of them are more melody pop records. Like the stuff that Lil Yachty, the reference track, that's more of a melody pop record. I haven't heard full verses, word for word, written by somebody else from Drake. One guy mentioned the Meek Mill Rico record. Even that record has melodies in between it, and a lot of words are changed. A lot of lines are changed in that. It's not word for word, so that's a whole different thing. But then he mentioned, obviously, the G-Unit order protection. I disproved that in the documentary, the 50 vs. Ja Rule documentary. Studio guy, the DJ or whatever, the engineer, got stabbed. He's the one that submitted the order of protection. I doubt 50 would submit an order of protection against those guys when he was dealing with Supreme. Like, if anybody, he would file against Supreme, because Supreme's the actual guy that would do it, or at least had the guys that would do it around him. Not no Ja Rule and Irv Gotti. They're the ones making multi-millions. They're in the public eye. They would not do some shit like that. Try to murder somebody. Come on. I never, but Ja Rule is going to spin his narrative of stuff. But Ja Rule, damn well you're the one that's created that 20v1 thing. So I just want to talk about that because Ja Rule has lost his marbles when it comes to that. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if Ja Rule says anything else. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? This is ridiculous.